Hey, what is up, guys? It's Jacob coming back to you with Game Changing Properties, the House Sosa Group in Keller Williams, and I just wanted to tell you guys about how I found my first deal. So that's what we're going to be talking about in this video. If you don't mind, take a moment to hit the like button and subscribe if you found any value in it, and to thank you in advance for that, here's a picture of a puppy. Welcome to Game Changing Properties, where I tell you about my ventures as a realtor in the California market. I hope you enjoy. Alright, so fresh as a realtor, you don't have a book of business. So I had to do what everybody else did. I had to hustle and grind to find clientele. A lot of people have the added benefit of being social butterflies throughout high school or college or through their career. And sometimes they have their SOI already kind of baked out for them, their sphere of influence, the people that they can kind of go to and say, hey, I'm thinking about becoming a realtor. If I do, would you be interested in, buying or selling a home through me, or know anybody that might? And there may be a backlog of business, in other words, for those people. Me personally, I've always been, the type that keeps things close to the chest, rather have higher quality than higher quantity, and just really kind of stick to a select group of friends. I didn't have this benefit, in other words, going for my side of things. That doesn't mean that you can't be successful, though. In fact, it's surprising to see how exponential the growth in real estate could be. But nonetheless, I had to start somewhere. So some of the things that I've tried out are direct mailers, door knocking, calling everybody in my phone book, shooting everybody an email, hitting them up on Facebook or the social medias, and just kind of sharing what I do and seeing if I could be of any value to them. But I'll tell you how I got my first deal, which is pretty crazy if you believe it. I actually got the first one from door knocking. So what neighborhood do you know better than the one that you live and grow up in? So that's what I did. I went out 2 blocks basically in all directions from my home, and that's where I started door knocking, because there's already a sense of invitation by the fact that you're a neighbor. So you can introduce yourself as the local neighborhood expert, because you have lived there for some duration of time that you could speak to matters of that neighborhood. So you already have sort of a sense of authority and sort of an icebreaker. So here I am, door knocking the neighborhoods, and in fact, I wasn't successful the first day, but I did have warm leads the first day. And what I would do is I would door knock, personally, what I did. I don't know if this is necessarily right or wrong for everybody, but I would try and focus on door knocking between the hours of 4:30 and 7:30. So trying to catch people after they're already off of their 9 to 5, but before dinner and they've settled down with their family and kids, and before sunset. So these were the ways that I approached the topic of door knocking. So I would do that, and I would just simply start at 4:30, up and down the streets like clockwork and in succession, and I would just do that until it got dark. And once it got dark, I would just come on home. Well, the first night I was doing that, there was a lot of people that opened up the door, didn't even speak my language, and I'm not bilingual, so that's an obstacle for me. So I did as best as I could, and they were pleasant and smiled, and I was pleasant and smiled, and handed them like a flyer or a business card, and went about my way. And then there was those that said that they were renting. That was actually a surprising amount, and I'm not shy against asking questions and getting to know people, so it allowed me to also kind of check the temperature of the neighborhood by talking to people and seeing what their rents were. Like, hey, hypothetically, if I were to rent in this neighborhood, what do you think it would cost me right now? You don't have to tell me your exact rents, but if you wouldn't mind sharing with me, I might be interested in the future, because I'm thinking about renting out my own home, and I want to know what I should rent my home out for. Or I have a friend or family member that might want to be renting. And this was all true, by the way. I am thinking about Airbnb my home, and I am also in contact with other individuals in my life that are looking for places to rent. A couple of them just had newborns, and they're looking for a bigger place, and they want to upgrade from their small little apartment to a house. And if I can help find that while I'm outdoor knocking, then why not pose the question, right? So come to find out that there was a substantial amount of people in my neighborhood that were renting for above mortgage values. So to me, that's just crazy. Why would you spend $1,700 on a rental, throwing away that equity, you're throwing away that money to someone else. Your interest rate is essentially 100%. And when you present things in a light like that, where the mortgage that you could have, the call place of your own, and eventually, move out of if you needed to later on, you could take some of those funds with you to the next place. They're not completely gone. And when the rents are about $1,700 and the mortgages are about $1,400 to $1,500 at the time of me doing this, they've gone up since then with inflation and everything going on in the crazy world. This video is made in July of 2022, so if you wanted a reference point, that's essentially when I'm filming this. But the time period that I'm talking about is probably a little bit closer to December 2020, leading up to it, essentially. Maybe a little bit after that, maybe leading into 2021. And essentially what had happened here was I got a lot of warm leads. I got a lot of contacts, and when I was going through these neighborhoods, I made sure that if anybody showed an interest, I wasn't just sharing my information with them and walking away. I would write down their name, their phone number, and their email if they're willing to share it with me, so that I could provide them with neighborhood market updates and keep in touch with them with their permission, 6 months out, a year out, and see if anything had changed for them. Those with rentals agreements, I could basically show them a snapshot of what a mortgage would look like for them, and they could weigh their options. 50-60% of them went into the I'm not interested, and then probably another 10% went into foreign language or wasn't home to answer the door. Another 10% went into rentals, and then another, essentially 10% went into cool leads. But it was really neat. I was walking around the bend. I was just about to call it, an evening, because I had reached the end of a street, and bring into the principle here of one more. Always shoot for one more. There's a lot of books that talk about this, and there's a lot of people that talk about magnitude in your actions, and emphasis of 10xing, like the Grant Cardone theory, or abundance with Tony Robinson and what have you. And so anyways, I just had this internal drive that told me, you're not done yet. And I listened to that, that gut feeling, that internal thought, that dialogue, and I rounded the bend, and I ended up going, I think it was like 3 more houses. First one was a no show at the door. Second one wasn't interested. And as I'm approaching this third house, I'm hearing laughter. They're outside. They happen to be enjoying time on their porch that evening. I could smell like this sweet aroma of some sort of cigar that they were smoking. So I kind of just, walked up, broke the ice with the smell of the cigar. I was talking to them, and I was like, that just smells great. Reminds me of Black and Milds, or whatever I said at the time. I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was something referencing how sweet the smell was of the cigar that they were smoking, and introduced myself as the neighborhood expert. Let them know this particular house, I just happened to live right across this field from them, and I was like, I'm right over there. I'm, checking out the neighborhood, and, letting people know what's going on in the market, and seeing if anybody's interested in, buying or selling property right now. And they were very pleasant, all laughs, and, enjoyed the comment I had made about the cigar walking up, and seemed to be very welcoming of the fact that, I was approaching their doorstep and what have you. And, they happen to tell me, which is the wildest thing again, because it doesn't normally work this way to my understanding, but they were like, well, yeah, actually, our husband or dad, depending on which one I was talking to, because it was a mother-daughter out on the porch, they're like, yeah, he's looking to buy a house soon, and our brother-in-law might be looking to buy a house soon too. In fact, we just got our pre-approval back from the lender. And this is the part that was really kind of like a slam dunk thought process in my head, is normally what you see most of the time is a potential buyer will speak to a realtor friend they know, because let's be honest, every person has that one realtor that's in their friend group. You'd be surprised until you become a realtor, and then you realize that everybody knows a realtor, or they just don't have any friends. Just kidding, for those of you out there that don't know a realtor. And if you don't, you can go ahead and call me from the number behind me, and I'll become your friend and we'll help you find a house. But anyways, going back to the point, they were already pre-approved, which, like I said, normally the realtor friend gets in contact with them, they put them in touch with the lender, then that relationship started. It's far more common for people to be internet shopping for homes on their tablets or their phones or their computers, and reach out to a lender that they know, or reach out to a realtor that they know first to find a lender. But in this particular case, they already found a lender. They already had a pre-approval letter. So now it was just a matter of finding them the home that they wanted to get. Thank you for joining in. Don't forget to leave a subscription if you liked the content. Put a number 2 in chat if you'd like to hear how the sale with this family went. Or if you didn't get anything out of the video, just drop an emoji because it's fun. Thank you. Catch you next time.